All right, guys, the time is here that I will finally get to add my Watkins Motorlines double trailer to the shelf. And pretty excited. This story has taken me places that I didn't think it was going to go. I thought when I started the Watkins story, I started looking into it, I thought, this is going to be another LTL company or a company that turned into an LTL company from a dry haul company. And it did turn into an LTL company, but it actually started as a refrigerated company. And Bill Watkins, the original founder, was a pioneer in the refrigerated trailer industry. It's amazing. I never thought I was going to find that out, but pretty cool. Before I get into it too much, let me do a real quick short ad here and tell you guys that you can save 10% off by using the code TruckingR10 at 4 states. You see the Chrome Shop Mafia sticker behind me. 4 states home of the Chrome Shop Mafia, and they're giving 10% off. I also have some other pretty cool codes that you can use for things like Truck Parking Club. Some other stuff will be down in the description. But let's get into the Watkins story. All right, guys, as always, I got my handy dandy little pad here, but anyway, the Watkins Motorlines was founded in 1932. It was a single truck company that hauled produce. It was founded in Thomasville, Georgia, and it was founded by the great Bill Watkins. During World War II, just like just about every company in the world, they started hauling war materials, and by the end of it, they had around 50 trucks. So, as you know, pretty much everything in the United States revolved around the war in the early 1940s, and some companies were able to prosper because of it. Many of these stories that I do that date back to then. But during the 1930s and 40s, this is where things get really interesting. Frederick McKinley of the Thermo King introduced the first ever truck refrigeration unit. And Thermo King will get a story here on the history, on Sunday, Trucking History Sunday, because that's a huge part of it. But Thermo King introduced the first refrigerated trucking unit, also known as the reefer unit. Well, Bill Watkins and Sidney Alterman of Ultimate Transport collaborated to refine the process for hauling frozen orange concentrate. It doesn't say exactly what that means, and I'm sure I could look into it more, but I would imagine the refrigeration units back then weren't good enough for frozen products yet. But I don't know. But we will find that out in the Thermo King history. By the 1960s, the company moved to their headquarters in Lakeland, Florida, 1966 to be exactly. And they were one of the largest carriers of perishables in the U.S. Again, this baffles me because the Watkins I know was, an LTL, doubles and triples and carrier. So this was just stuff that I didn't know. It's just amazing. In 1961, Watkins Associated Industries was founded as a formal holding company for Watkins Motorlines and the other diversified business interests of the Watkins family. That becomes very important. If you watched my video last week when I said I was going to do this, I said that Watkins was a lot like Montfort in a certain way. And I will get to that here at the end, the comparisons of them. No, Watkins was never known, as far as I know, for owning the left lane like Montfort did. But the end story is very much like Montfort, and it is a happy story. So guys, in 1972, Watkins obtains Transcontinental LTL operating authority. And it was only in the 1980s that it added a dry freight division. That's pretty considerable, I keep saying I considered it a dry freight company. And it does say that Watkins remained consistently profitable. Now, before the fact checkers want to go out there, I'm sure that they did have some years that maybe they weren't profitable. Maybe not. Maybe they were profitable every year. I didn't look into it that far. Consistently profitable doesn't mean that they never lost money. So please don't start bashing about that. Oh, boy. In 1984, Bill Watkins retired and his sons John and William Buzz Watkins, I will refer to him from now on as Buzz Watkins, took over. Under John and Buzz, the company grew to over 10,000 employees, 139 locations in 42 states and Puerto Rico. So guys, in 1998, the great Bill Watkins died at the age of 84 in Lakeland, Florida, a true pioneer in the trucking industry. And at the time of his death, Watkins was the 9th largest LTL carrier, which is big. It might not be as big now to be the 9th largest because there's a lot less than there used to be. But when you imagine in 1998, I mean, it was, part of the heyday of LTL carriers. They were everywhere. And that was before Yellow Freight started buying them all up and bankrupting them. But yeah, that's another story. I'll put some up here. Actually, there's a whole playlist of companies ruined by Yellow. But anyway, they were the 9th largest LTL carrier and the 21st largest trucking company in the U.S. So in May 2006, Watkins Motor Lines and its Canadian operations, Watkins Canadian Express, were sold to FedEx to form the FedEx National LTL, now part of FedEx Freight. And for some stupid reason, I did not write down the price, which I believe was $780 million. But let me double check on that. And now I'm back, and yes, I can tell you that it was $780 million. I don't know why I didn't write that down. Seems like an important number, because it is. Less than 1 year later, Buzz Watkins died of cancer, and his brother John passed away in 2011. Guys, I always do my hats off to great men of trucking. There's been great females of trucking too. I always do my hats off. And Bill Watkins, you get one for, I would say, building a great family legacy. And Buzz Watkins and John Watkins, it almost seems by these numbers that you guys are the ones that set the, all the LTL, it really expanded the LTL. So as far as I'm concerned, Buzz and John, you guys are also hats off as great people of trucking. So what happened from there? What happened to the Watkins family? They had all these great people in trucking, and well, I guess they got $780 million and just split it up among the family and went and blew it, right? No. Remember when I was telling you back here about the Watkins, yeah. Anyway, their holding company, I'll get to that now because I'm going to go to the computer to read this because there was so much that they do now that it was hard to even write it all down. So I just decided I would have the list on the computer. Well, guys, at this time, I'm going to add the truck to the collection. And you can see the collection of trucking companies that I've already done. Well, let me see if I can do better light. Yep, there we go. All right, Roadway here, I've done. One of the companies ruined by Yellow. And that truck was actually sent to me by a subscriber, Frankie Hannon, of a New York City LTL driver his whole career. Bless his heart, and I think of you all the time, Frankie, when I see that truck. And of course, I did the story of Jevic, another great man in trucking, Harry Muleschlegel. Horseless Carriage, I did a story of, and their family actually reached out to me and said the original owner, Frank Malteza, I think I said that right, said that he loved the story and he watched it over and over and over again. So that was pretty cool. I've done the history on Landstar, and I did the history on St. Johnsbury. What I haven't done is anything with Chevy, and this was just a cool thing. I've had a collection long before I was doing this. So I think I'm going to readjust this shelf. I think this Chevy one can go, be displayed somewhere else, and I will be back with the Watkins truck on there. Well, there you have it, guys. Not only do I have a Watkins truck on there now, I also have my first set of doubles, which is pretty cool. I don't know that Watkins ever owned them Fords, but that's still pretty cool. Anyway, guys, check out any of these companies here. They are, they should be called the Great Men of Trucking because every one of these has a great man of trucking behind them. Except for Landstar, really, which that story I thought was going to be boring, but it wasn't. I was actually able to date Landstar back to the 1930s through trades, acquisitions, and everything, what became the company now. Now let me tell you about the Watkins family. So, was the Watkins family the heirs just handed a bunch of money, like happens so much, and go away or run companies into the ground? No, this is where they are a lot like the Montfort family, and I will put the Montfort story up here that you can click on, because this ended a lot like them. The Watkins family, through their privately held Watkins Associated Industries, has bought and currently manages a portfolio of companies across various sectors, including real estate, food processing, insurance services, building materials, and they are still in transportation. Specific companies that they own, and I will read what the companies do also. They own highway transport. The family purchased this specialty chemical hauler in 1963. It specializes in bulk transportation of chemicals with terminals in several states. The reason I didn't include this in the Watkins story is because this is kind of a separate story, because Watkins Motor Lines didn't own highway transport. Watkins Associated Industries did, and that's important because of all the other companies that they own. Tucker Door and Trim focuses on assembling door jambs, pre-hanging doors, custom millwork, manufactured windows. Nova Engineering and Environmental. Now, it does not say anywhere if number 5 came with this purchase. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you might be too young. And if you still don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch Short Circuit, one of the best movies ever. But anyway, Nova Engineering and Environmental, they acquired it. They're an engineering and environmental consulting firm. Lexington Manufacturer, a window millwork firm. Sunco Carriers and Landspan. These were part of the truckload services division under Watkins Associated after the sale of Watkins Motor Lines. So they do still own them. Real estate holdings. The WAI portfolio includes real estate development such as developing garden-style apartment communities and grocery-anchored shopping centers in the Southeast United States. Imagine that. Grocery store anchored, they're everywhere. You find them everywhere. But I also looked into who was still on the board, of the Watkins family. And let me just scroll down here. So when I looked up who is still on the board, I got some different answers here. So I'll actually read it the exact way it says here. It says, after the FedEx acquisition of Watkins Motor Lines in 2006, leadership of the remaining entity, Watkins Associated Industries, remained within the family and was passed to other professionals. Key leaders who guided Watkins Industries after the acquisition include John Watkins, Chip Watkins, Eric Whalen, John Maggard, Scott Hawkins. I go down here to what Watkins are still on the board, and it says current and recent family members on the board, and it goes George Watkins, chairman of the board, Michael Watkins, a board member who previously served as president of Watkins Christian Foundation. I would have to look into that altogether. It sounds like almost sounds like a large charity or something, but I didn't look into that. John Watkins, Miles Watkins, Clay Watkins, Ashley Watkins. I don't know who's still on the board, who isn't on the board, but this is what's important. The company emphasizes that the board reflects the generational family heritage and ownership of the corporate enterprise, ensuring continued family involvement and strategic direction. That's really wild. I mean, what a great legacy, started by one truck hauling produce in Thomasville, Georgia. That's just amazing. Watkins family, thanks for all that has been done in the past by your family, and will be done in the future. You still own some companies, and it's just great. You have set up, there is a whole legacy here of Bill Watkins that is really incredible. Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching this. This was really fun to do. These history videos are always fun to do, and so are getting the comments. I read all the comments. I respond to as much as I can. There's always people telling me my story was wrong. If you're going to tell me that, tell me why it's wrong. And then when I respond to you, make sure you see what I responded. And just had to say that last time somebody was pretty rude, said I don't know anything before actually asking me. There's other times that people do correct me on things and I go back and check and they're right. But if you're going to correct me on something, try to be nice about it, and then I will respond and I will look into it and everything if I was wrong. Anyway, guys, now that's passed. Thanks a lot. Feel free to comment. I love doing it. I had said before, I talked in the past about doing like a comedy show on Wednesdays, and that's not going to happen. I did it. I recorded it. I had the idea. I did it. I didn't like it at all, and I don't think you guys will like it. I guess I'm not that kind of that kind of comedian to do it. It was funny, but it didn't work, not with me doing it. So I'm sorry, guys, I didn't actually come out with that last Wednesday. I did the video, and then I scrapped it. I tried to do what's actually entertaining, not just stupid videos for you guys. I will have a video coming out this Wednesday. It's actually a story, not the history of UPS or FedEx. It's actually a story of some things going on recently with FedEx and UPS. So that'll be out on Wednesday, and then a trucking. I've been trying to get things in order. There will be a trucking video on Friday. I've got some other things coming up. I got a crazy experiment that I'm going to do with my truck batteries over Thanksgiving weekend and see how it works out. All kinds of stuff happening. But thanks a lot, guys, for watching this story of Watkins. As always, there will be a story next Sunday. What will it be? Well, a lot of you guys request companies, and I start looking into them. This is a truck that actually came in a package of other trucks I have, and somebody requested it just this week. So I looked into it a bit to see if I could do a good story on it, and I can do a pretty good story. This is a company that was a victim of deregulation, just like so many, and it's Time DC. So I will do that next week. I actually had forgotten about this company, didn't know much about them, and after doing some research, it should be a pretty good story. But anyway, guys, if you have requests, feel free to make them in the comments. You can also email me if you want to, finchresources@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Substack. Yeah, and Substack. I never, ever can just pop off all four of them at once. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. Remember to look below in the description for discount codes, and I will catch you on the next one.